Have you ever had an area of your Christian faith that you couldn't get your head around? I mean, it just didn't quite seem right. You know you're supposed to believe this, but somehow it doesn't seem to match, or you can't quite figure it out or understand it, and you don't know who to go to or who to talk to find the answer. Well, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But before we do, it's of course Christmas season, and I want to share with you a store window on the east side, across over there, on the east side of the Raceville Square that I went past last night. Just kind of a fun little window. And then we'll come back and talk about what happens if you're seriously questioning your faith. I'm going to start by saying you're not alone. A lot of people have doubted their faith. I don't just mean Christians, but there are a lot of atheists that have doubted atheism, and there are a lot of Christians that have doubted Christianity. There are just anything on that large of a scale that is given a simplistic, neat little answer. The answers just don't fit the complexity of the scale of what we wrestle with. And anything on a scale as complex as God must be above and out of our box, or it's not God. I mean, it just doesn't fit the definition of God if we can get our minds around all aspects of it. So let's say you are in a bit of a sticky wicket, and there's something that's been nagging on your mind, and you don't know what to do with it. Well, I don't know that I can answer all of life's questions right here, but I can give you some steps to help you work with it. The first suggestion that I have is not to go running off to extremes. That is, don't toss away your faith and say all of a sudden, I can't be a believer anymore because my faith just can't answer this question. That's like the student that took a world religion class, and every chapter all semester he converted to whatever religion they were studying that chapter, and at the end of the course he came right back to where he started at. The other suggestion I have is not to go to the other extreme either. Don't become all defensive, think you have the answers to everything, and be ready to fight and argue about everything possible. I think there's too many of us as Christians that hold on to things that maybe are not that reasonable, but we will fight tooth and toenail for our point of view, and that everybody else would follow our point of view. Well, those extremes are just impossible. I mean, to jettison all view of truth, or to be reconverted to every argument you hear, or else to be so defensive you're ready to fight over everything that doesn't fit inside of your box, just kick those out right away and don't mess with them anymore, because they're beyond not useful. They're actually harmful to you and to others around you, to be either wishy-washy or dogmatic. Drop that. I'll tell you what I do. And yes, I don't have my faith all nailed down yet. And yes, there are things in the Christian faith that confuse me. And there are things that I wrestle with. So here's what I do. First of all, I sort of hang on to those things in the back of my head, and I think, isn't that interesting? That's kind of a tough one to figure out. It's not going to stop me from believing in God because I've experienced and seen too much in life to think that God's not there. But maybe the way I perceive isn't always the way that it is. And so I hold on to those ideas fairly loosely. I don't convert to them or anything like that. I hold on to them. But as the years go by, I find other theologians that have wrestled with the very same issues. Because believe me, Christianity has been around a couple of thousand years, and there's nothing new that hasn't been wrestled with at some time in the past. And so, or that somebody else isn't wrestling with also. And so I will, I'll kind of hang on to that loosely. And then just over a period of years and time, whenever I get a chance, I'll read a little more on that subject. I will talk a little more on that subject. I'll think a little bit more on that subject, and I'll keep putting new data in as the time goes by. I also appreciate the friendship of certain friends that I have that will give me permission to be a heretic and bounce around to my ideas, and that have enough horsepower in their theological tank to question and give me ideas where they are at and where their heresies are at. And they kind of challenge me, and I kind of challenge them, and neither one of us is going to go burn the other one at the stake. You know, safe, knowledgeable people. It's kind of refreshing to have someone that will give me the permission to think, even though that thinking is a little bit threatening sometimes. The way my mind is wired, I pretty much have to do that. I mean, I can't just swallow everything somebody gives me without thinking through it. And I don't automatically just agree with everything somebody sticks at me when I do think through it. And then I need to say before I finish that over a period of time, after bouncing ideas off of many people that I trust and that actually know what they're talking about, and a lot of study and a lot of prayer, there are times I change my mind. I change my theology. I am theologically not the same person that I was when I became a Christian. I'm not theologically the same person that I was raised to be in the same denomination when I was ordained. There are things about my own church background that my own denomination that I may not agree with as passionately as I used to agree with. And there are other things that I agree with probably more. And I think that's pretty normal. I think that it's pretty normal for a person that is young or new Christian to kind of stretch their wings and to spread and learn different things and maybe change ideas and then come right back home because, by the way, I am very comfortable in my own theological heritage and being a part of my church family in the Wesley Armenian tradition. Very comfortable, even though some parts of my ideas have stepped outside of that. I think, as I said, it's normal for people to go out, stretch their wings, turn around, come right back home again, and come back home with an appreciation for our heritage, but still some areas where we have stretched and outgrown our heritage. That's part of the maturing process. One thing I've grown to especially like about the Wesley Armenian tradition, the Methodist movement in all of its various forms, is that one of the theologians that is kind of foundational to that movement, John Wesley, changed his mind grew and matured all through his life. So if you read his writings when he was 20 or 40 or 80, he writes different things because he's always in the process of growing and stretching. May God stretch you. When you are challenged, may it not be overwhelmingly or too threateningly, but at the same time, may it challenge you to grow and learn and continue to mature as you become more and more Christ-like through the years.